He said that Jesus Christ has risen, and he is the open door.
Well, how you doing, everyone? Welcome to another episode of the Cajun Conservative, where we talk about life, we talk about liberty, we talk about the pursuit of happiness, and we're showing the world that Cajuns do have intelligence. Hope you're having a good day, good week, wherever you are located and listening on the platform you love. If that's Apple, Google, Spotify, Rumble, YouTube, Amazon Music, and Anchor.fm. Welcome to the Cajun Conservative family. If this is your first time listening, and please consider hitting the subscribe button and or the follow button on the platform you're listening on. And we want to also say thank you to all of our returning listeners here at BJS Media for the Cajun Conservative Show. It's an honor and privilege to have you part of the Cajun Conservative family, and we hope that you are here for a very, very long time. Hope you're having a good day. Here in Louisiana, it's hot. It's wet. You know, you normally hear the phrase, it's hot and cold, it's cold and wet. No, not here. It's hot and wet. The reason being typical Louisiana weather is that it starts off cool, ladies and gentlemen. It starts off cool. And here in Louisiana, 60 degrees is cold for us, but it starts out 70. I like 75 to 80 degree weather. That is at 6 o'clock in the morning for us. And it gradually goes up until about 10, 11 o'clock, and the heat index is about 105. And then all of a sudden, it just starts raining down. And it becomes a wet wonderland of heat and hot. So, but hey, anyway, we're all good though, ladies and gentlemen. God has provided. Hey, we're working out good. Got to work a little bit today, and I'm ready for this episode, ladies and gentlemen. I'm ready for this episode. As we go along, second segment, we have Mr. Rodney Chitwood. Well, Pastor Rodney Chitwood, a good friend of mine for a couple of years. He is running for chief of police of one of the local towns here, Breaux Bridge, Louisiana. He's running against a few other candidates. We are working on getting those candidates as well to come on the Cajun Conservative podcast and voice their opinion and their concerns, and to see who's the most qualified for the job. And look, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be blunt with you. I don't have a horse in this race. I'm an outsider. I'm outside the city limits of this town. So I go ahead and I just ask the hard questions. And if you live in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, listening to this podcast, you can go ahead and listen to Brother Rodney give his opinion why he's the best candidate for the job. Now, also, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to go ahead and say this as well. If you are in Breaux Bridge, I had to catch my thought. My thought was running away. I had to catch it. If you live in the city of Breaux Bridge, go on my Facebook page, the Cajun Conservative Show, and I talked to Brother Rodney as well, and we go ahead and discuss the same things, but that's more of a local level. So, all right, so let's go ahead, and ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to any time this podcast, I know my first-time listeners are probably like, well, we don't know you that well, but the regular listeners, the listeners that listen to me from day one, are the ones that started a few episodes ago. If you listen to my podcast, you know that I go ahead and I attack the Democrat Party a lot. I don't agree with the left. I don't like a lot of the leftist agendas. And let me just say this: we've been on a Democrat control for 2 years now, and everything has gone to the toilet. Everything, our economy, our borders, our infrastructure, everything has gone down to the wayside. This is what gets me, though. But as I said, I go ahead and attack the Democrat Party. But this is what gets me. The Republican Party sees the destruction, and they go ahead and align themselves with the Democrat Party. The Republican Party is trying to find that middle ground. And I hate to say it, there is no middle ground to the left. They keep on going left, 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 and the Republicans keep on trying to follow them, going left, 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 and those people that were on the right are now mostly in the center or moving more to the left. Why do I say this? Well, last week, the House of Representatives passed the same-sex marriage bill. This is a report on CBN News. It's called the Respect for Marriage Act. It was done last week, where it passed. Well, it's there to repeal the Defense the Marriage Act, which under the Supreme Court in 2015 was considered unconstitutional. This was done by a Democratic president. And the one point right here, ladies and gentlemen, imagine this. A Democratic president back in 1996 signed this bill. He signed the Defend the Marriage Act, where he said, now this is Bill Clinton I'm talking about. Bill Clinton, in this bill, which he signed, defined marriage as between a man and a woman. That was the definition of marriage. Now, we can go into the whole spec of why the definition of marriage is not in the Constitution. I believe, and I'm going to hurry up and say this, I believe our founding fathers had enough sense to think that nobody in America would question what marriage was. Back in the 1700s to the 1800s, you would ask our founding fathers, define marriage, and they probably would say, well, back in Genesis chapter 1, verse 1, God created everything. He created everything in 7 days, and he made a man, and then he made him a helpmate. That's a woman. That's marriage. Marriage is between a man and a woman in love. That would be their definition. I don't think the founding fathers were sitting in the halls of Congress after the Revolutionary War and saying, I wonder what marriage is. Should we put this in the Constitution? Same thing with abortion. The reason why abortion isn't there is because the founding fathers never thought that a mother would want to go ahead and take her own child's life. That's what we have the Supreme Court to define that. Now, in 2015, the court was mostly leftist. It's funny what 8 years can do. It changed. And look, credit to Mitch McConnell to other Republicans that have set it up to where we have a more conservative and original court. But in 2015, this was shot down, the Defense of Marriage Act. Now Congress wants to codify it by the Supreme Court's decision by putting in this respect for marriage, which defines marriage as whatever, basically. It's if you love somebody or it or that or whatever, you can marry them. If you're transgender, if you are non-binary, it don't matter. You can marry whatever. Now, I hate to say it, ladies and gentlemen, this passes in the Senate, and which it has a good chance. We're about to talk about this. If this passes in the Senate, God helps this nation. Because I believe this is a sign that a nation is falling away. We've had some good things. Yes, abortion is in certain states are outlawed. There are still states like in Louisiana. There's people fighting us in Louisiana right now to keep the bill going, keep abortions going. But they're just having a lot of fights right now. But we do have abortions that are out of the way. We have abortions that are gone. But ladies and gentlemen, if you listen to this, this bill right here says, look, this isn't a win if this bill passed, because this is immoral, in my humble opinion. But anyway, and look, I'm probably gonna get flat back. I already got flat back on YouTube on one of my last videos where I brought out my opinion on disrespect the Marriage Act, and someone told me they didn't want to hear my opinion, but they listened to the old video to hear my opinion. Anyway, back to the story. But this was passed in the House of Representatives. And this is all coming from Clarence Thomas and his opinion, which wasn't in the opinion of Roe v. Wade. It was a conclusion where he said that, look, there's a lot of court cases that use the same formula for Roe v. Wade. If you look at the case, I can't remember the case right offhand, but the case in 2015, this was put on the 14th Amendment Constitution of the Privacy Act. That's why the Supreme Court said, hey, it's not constitutional to tell people who to marry, but you have documents of federal government, whatever. It's in the privacy of their own home. They can do whatever. And I agree with that. Look, I'm sorry. You know, I'm a straight white male that's married and has 3 kids. But there's married couples that whatever they do behind closed doors, I can't tell them what to do. That's their house, so that's their home. I can't tell people what to do behind the closed doors. That's their privacy. That's their home. They have the right to privacy. But to go ahead and say, hey, they can get married and stuff like that, no, we need to know what marriage is. And Clarence Thomas was just saying, hey, we didn't look at this case right back in 2015 because he was on the court then. we didn't look at this case right. We used the same formula that they passed Roe v. Wade on, so we should overlook it. Now they got the Democrats in a frenzy. Oh no, we can't have that. We got to codify the decision that saves same-sex marriage. See, we told y'all, the people all over the world, that if y'all let them overturn Roe v. Wade, they're gonna come after same-sex marriages, and they're gonna have to come after conversations and all this stuff. Oh, you can't do that. See, Clarence Thomas, prove it. So now they push this bill in. Now, you might be saying, Isaac, didn't you talk about this already? Yes, I did. I'm adding on to it right now because 47 Republicans signed on to that bill to get it through the House of Representatives. Why am I bringing this up? Well, it's going to the Senate. And the Senate is considering this. So far, 4 Republicans are hinting that they're going to support this bill. How do I know this? This comes from Politico, and the article reads, the Midwestern pioneer lobbying Republicans on same-sex marriage. There's a Wisconsin Democrat, and her name, Tammy Baldwin. She's the first openly gay representative in the Senate, and she is lobbying Republicans to join behind this. And it even says in this article, but after Justice Clarence Thomas muzzled about most about reversing the Obichin Fall versus Hutchinson decision as the next step after the court Roe v. Wade reversal, and 47 Republicans back codifying of marriage equally, Baldwin got Harkland's assessment from Senate Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer. She's about halfway to get it to the GOP mark. She needs to break a filibuster with 5 Republican senators. Correction, I said 4, it's 5, signaling their support for same-sex legislation. But finding the next 5 will be even tougher. Now, Baldwin spoke to more than 10 Republican senators before the Senate left Washington on Thursday and planned to continue her outreach over the weekend. According to the person familiar with the decision, she declined to divulge too much about her sensitive talks with the opposing party on the issue that painfully divides them, but she needs to make sure she's feeling good about the decisions. So there's 5 Republicans that she has talked to already that is signaling they're going to vote for this. When I first saw this article, this was my notes. Has the Republican Party lost all sense of value? Why do I say that? Because remember, ladies and gentlemen, the Republican Party used to be the party of pro-life. We're going to stop abortion at all costs. Now they have done that in some way, shape, or form. But also, something the Republican Party was known for was the sanctity of marriage. The Republican Party believed that marriage was based upon a man and a woman being in a relationship, and they loved each other so much that they got married. That is what the Republican Party stood for. The Republican Party stood for the sanctity of marriage. But now, as we have Lisa Murkowski and Susan Collins and other Republicans that are, as I said earlier, you have Democrats that lean so much to the left that the Republican parties are following these Democrats like puppies, and they're moving more moderate to left. Now we're at a point where Republicans are like, marriage could be between whoever, as long as they love each other, and that mentality is dangerous. What's going to happen when you're going to have this bill passed and you're going to have a person go to the courthouse and say, hey, I want to marry my dog, I want to marry my cat? Oh no, that's not right. What you signed in the Equally Marriage Act, where it opens up everything. Think about that, ladies and gentlemen. There is a biblical standpoint why I disagree in same-sex marriages, because it's not of God. And look, I'm going to say it like this for the fact checkers. My opinion, marriage is defined as a man and a woman. Between marriage is a man and a woman that love each other and have intercourse with each other, and that's the only ones they should be. Now, I'm not going to stand here and say you can do whatever you want, because you do live in a free country in the privacy of your home. Like I said earlier, you can do that. But ladies and gentlemen, this is wrong. The Republican Party is bending backwards. And this is the second story that I'm going to crush the Republican Party on. I hope she doesn't find 5 more Republicans, but I hate to tell you, my faith in the Republican Party is very well slim to none. Oh, Isaac, what are you going to do in the midterms? Well, I'm probably going to vote Republican. But the thing of it is, ladies and gentlemen, what they're going to do when they're in power. If they're already bending backwards to the Democrat Party now on issues like same-sex marriages, which their platform is that, hey, we're mostly Christians and we disagree with same-sex marriage, but we're going to allow it right here. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is this whole anti-gay, anti-thing. Oh, you're anti-gay. No, you can be whatever you want, live in a free country. But ladies and gentlemen, these people want special privileges. These people want special privileges. And well, you're mad. You're for marriage between a man and a woman, don't you? No, this has been around since the beginning of time. Ladies and gentlemen, these people want special privileges. They want everything. They want to be labeled as a special class of people, and you can't have that. Ladies and gentlemen, and the Republican, I'm sorry, I'm going to bash the Republican Party right here. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But the Republican Party has lost all sense of values. Well, we believe that same-sex marriage isn't right, but we're going to go ahead and agree with this bill so we can go ahead and, make sure we feel good with everybody. Because see, this whole mentality right here, especially with June Pride Month, and you have all these people pushing homosexuality upon everybody that's going on. If you go to the movies, if you go, look, me and my wife, we finally got rid of Disney Plus. My wife told me that, no, I can't, and she watches it more with the kids than I do. She said, I'm done with it. I'm getting rid of it. I'd rather go put like a Christian app called Minnow, where it shows them the Bible and shows them the Word of God. We're tired of Disney trying to push this down our throat, but now it has got to the Republican Party. Oh my goodness, America might really be going to this gay thing, and we need to have our votes, and we can't lose our votes. Ladies and gentlemen, this is America is going to hell in a handbasket. I'm sorry. I want to tell you this though, there's more Americans in this world, well, in this country, that believe that marriage is between a man and a woman. Has the numbers have gone up probably in the recent years more to the LGBTQ? Absolutely. I'm not disagreeing with that. But still, more Americans believe in family. And that's why the left is indoctrinating these people into thinking kids, 2-year-old, 3-year-olds can identify their gender and they can change and that they're gay. Because back in the day when I was growing up, it was just, oh, I like a man and a man, 2 men like each other. Now it's them having sex changes and them promoting it to kids that you can have sex changes. Oh, you don't feel like you're a girl, but then you must be a boy. Oh, you feel like a girl, but you're a boy? Well, you must be a girl. And unfortunately, the Republican Party is leaning more to that way. Ladies and gentlemen, 5 Republicans are signaling that they're going to support this. If I was you, I'd call your senators like I did. I called Bill Cassidy's office, backstabbing Cassidy. He didn't give me a comment. I called John Kennedy. They didn't answer. But I left them a voicemail. If these senators, look, and I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't think that 15 Republicans would sign on to a gun legislation that would take our rights away. But they did. And look, ladies and gentlemen, look, I'm not advocating to vote for Democrat. I'm vote the right people into office, please. If you go vote on November 8th, and I hope you do, vote for the right people. They already have primaries that come about and that have come and gone. I understand that. But I hate to tell you, ladies and gentlemen, my faith in the Republican Party is slim to none. And it's because of this right here. We'll be right back with Mr. Rodney Chitwood, candidate for Chief of Police of Breaux Bridge PD. And we'll be right back after this short break. How you doing, everyone? Isaac here. I'm the Cajun Conservative, and I want to thank Brother Lanny Hayes from Hayes' Dump Truck Service for their generous support of the Cajun Conservative and Brothers Just Searching. Hayes' Dump Truck Service serves the Lafayette and surrounding areas. If you have any job that you need done, like cleanup or hauling material to your job site or your home, we haul limestone, we haul sand, we haul topsoil, any type of material you need.
If you're in Lafayette and surrounding areas, please call Brother Lanny Hayes at 337-852-8043. Remember, Hayes' Dump Truck Service, where Jesus is Lord of the company.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the second segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. As promised, I have with me guest. He is the pastor of the Bridge Fellowship Church in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, and he is now the candidate for Breaux Bridge Police Chief, Mr. Rodney Chitwood. Pastor Rodney Chitwood. Pastor, welcome to the Cajun Conservative Show. How you doing tonight? And you getting ready for this? You were getting ready for this race or what? Yeah, what's going on?
Getting ready for it.
There we go.
Working hard on it.
Working hard on it.
I got into it late, didn't plan on running, so I'm kind of behind the 8 ball, but I'm going to work hard to win it.
At least you and Donald Trump have something in common. Y'all both outsiders.
I thought you were going to say we both have beautiful wives, but
well,
all right.
Hey, that's your opinion. Hey, I'm just saying. But Pastor Rodney, we just did Facebook Live. That one's out right now on the Cajun Conservative Facebook page. This is coming out in the midweek, and we got political problems all over the nation. But I wanted to have you on because, first off, you have a great story. Just a little while you did this. Tell us a little bit about the background, why you decided to run. What was that final nudge to say, look, I'm going to do it, and how does it feel being a Christian in a political atmosphere? It might be a small community where we're at, but it's still politics in some way, shape, or form.
Right, it is. I didn't have political ambitions to run for this. Earlier today you talked about that I was involved in politics. I was on the RPEC for our area, and really saw that how deep grained the rhinos are in the party. And quite honestly, I got disgusted with politics, and so I got out, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna be an outsider and just hold everybody accountable.
Right.
Okay. And so as far as politics, that's what I've been doing, just trying to hold people accountable to what they were doing. And about a week and a half ago now, my family and I were on a little long weekend vacation, and we were talking politics coming up, and who could possibly be on the ticket for this November. And I was giving my input, and it came down to the city of Breaux Bridge, and the aldermans were up, the mayor was up for election, police chief, and I started making comments about the police station, and I was complaining about it. And let me pause right here, if I can, back up to 1992. I got frustrated with the denomination that I was a part of, and I left it. I saw too much politics going on in it and in the church, and the Lord chastised me and said, why are you leaving? Why don't you go as a minister of change? And so that convicted me to get back into that setting I was in on denomination wise. So with that conviction, my children made the comment, well, Dad, if you're going to complain about it, why don't you get in and fix it? And that spurred something with me. And I kind of did some calls on that Saturday morning about, hey, if I wanted to run, because I didn't even know how to run. If I wanted to run, what do I need to do? And all of them told me, you're going to have to work hard. You're just now getting into this. Yeah. 3 months left. You're going to have to work hard. So I made the announcement on the Sunday night. I qualified on Thursday afternoon, and been pounding the pavement ever since, trying to get the word out.
So and look, you're up against two candidates. One was in the police department. One is a former sheriff's deputy, I believe. Right. So you have. That's what a lot of people will look at you and say, well, look, brother, Pastor Rodney, no offense, but you're just a pastor.
Absolutely.
And why should I go? Like, if you're knocking on my door, and we've been knowing each other for years now. We've done street ministries together, the park together. And if you knocked on my door and I was a resident of Breaux Bridge, I would be like, well, hold on. You're a pastor. You have this one that was a detective in the police department that he's running for. Then you have this one that's a sheriff. What makes you qualified to be a cop or be a chief of police?
Perfect question. It needs to be asked. And as pastor, I don't need those qualifications, so I don't talk about them.
Right.
All right, I'm an honor graduate of the U.S. Air Force Police Academy, won Best in Air Force 2 years in a row. We honor our veterans for serving and protecting this country. I got the privilege of protecting the protectors. While they were on those military bases, we made sure them and their families were safe. A lot of people don't realize we got gang issues that go on in our military force, that they come in to get trained and recruit. We have drug issues on our military bases. We have theft issues on our military bases. All the things that happen in a civilian society happens on every basis. Not only knowing the Uniform Code of Military Justice, but also having to know the laws of the cities and states that you're stationed in and enforcing those as well while you're on the base. I have that experience. I got 9 years of insurance fraud investigation in Mississippi as experience. As a missionary, one of my responsibilities was the crisis management director, meaning we set up, we kind of came up with what are all the issues that could take place that put our missionaries in harm, and how are we going to respond to that. That required us to work cross-culturally with every country we were in, with their government system, their military system, their police systems. I had the opportunity to be trained in Virginia with the FBI on how to respond to these terrorist-type activities, how to train our people to respond if they're kidnapped, which unfortunately in the country I was in, we did have one person blown up by terrorists. He was killed, had another couple that was kidnapped and ended up having to be rescued, and the husband lost his life in the rescue attempt. I bring that to this. I bring the military strategy, the military commitment to this as a police chief. I haven't had to talk about those as a pastor.
So, because look, until recently, I didn't know you was in the military. I heard you was in somewhat of the military,
Right.
but I didn't know you were in that depth.
Yeah.
So Breaux Bridge is a small community. We talked about it earlier, about the issues that are plaguing the department right now. Because
Right.
you said that before your kids said, hey, what are you going to do to change it?
Mm-hmm.
You were talking about the problems that the department has. What do you see your department in Breaux Bridge that the problems it has, and what you're going to fix?
Yeah, I'm going to take it a little deeper. It's not what I see, it's what the citizens see. I've been out talking to them on what do you see as the problem in our Breaux Bridge Police Department. Number one thing I keep hearing is they don't know where the police department is.
Wow.
They don't see police officers on patrol. And I can attest to that. When I see a police car, and I live on a very busy road, when I see a police car, Breaux Bridge PD, they're normally responding to something. I want to change that to where the citizens of Breaux Bridge are confident in their police department. How do they become confident? The same way the citizens are going to have confidence in me, it's getting out there and talking to them, introducing yourselves. If I have the privilege of being the chief, one of the things I'm going to implement is while you're on patrol, get out of the car and go talk to people. Introduce yourselves to them. That builds that trust. That when something goes down, it's like, wait a minute, I met that officer. I know how they are. I can trust them. We got to build that trust again in our community. We got to be visible in the community again.
Do you think that lack of confidence, or that lack of officer, maybe officers want to do that, don't get me wrong.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that is because of the national problem we have with police departments? Because, I quote it almost all the time on this podcast. You have the left and some rhinos saying, look, it is police department's fault. They have a racial issue there, especially with the George Floyd and all these other cases that happened in 2020. And then you have the issue with Uvalde, which I know none of us were involved with that, but we hear the news articles of how these police didn't react right because, frankly, I believe a lot of them were scared.
Yeah.
And they were wondering, well, what the public is going to think. Do you think in our little town that we are in right now, do you think that's maybe a problem why the police, the policemen and women don't want to go out and interact with the community because they're scared, hey, this might be an issue naturally, little town of Breaux Bridge in the news?
I don't necessarily think so. I think we have some good officers that maybe, and this is going to have to be pure speculation on my point, okay? And I want to make that clear.
Yeah.
Because I haven't, they're civil servants, all right? So they're kind of bound by some ethics on what they can say about their department. And so I'm not going to put them in that position to push anything. My speculation is that we need them better trained. When you are better trained, you are confident in everything. If I go into something, one of my biggest things, in technology, that's one of the things I want to try to bring to the forefront with the department is better technology. I hate technology. All right, when I have to get on a computer, it drives me crazy getting into a new system and anything until I learn it.
Right.
Once I learn it, I have confidence in it. And that's one of the things that is going to have to be at the forefront for the police department, is making sure they are trained to the fullest. And we there's great training out there. I think we just need to take advantage of it.
On that note, let's go, because when we did the Facebook Live earlier, that was to the local community.
Right.
I'm known throughout this community as the Cajun Conservative. I had a lady the other day tell me, she said, when she started talking about politics and she listened to somebody say, well, I'm the Cajun Conservative. She goes, oh, that's you. So I'm little known around here. But as for the national stage, because the podcast reached all over America, because I hear this a lot from Christians right now, that, oh, we should leave politics out of this. We should leave politics out of the church. We should leave politics out of our homes. We should just pray and ask God to put in the right person. God knows everything. But you are just not you're labeled now because you're a politician. Okay. But now you're just not a politician. You are a pastor as well. What do you think of Christians being in politics? The reason I asked that, Brother Rodney, is because when I knew you was coming on, and I knew when we got to this segment, I really wanted to touch on that, because a lot of people tell me I need to get out of politics. I'm like, I'm not in it. I just criticize it.
Right.
And I feel that's what God called me to do, is to expose lies and introduce the truth.
Yeah.
But I'm if we had more Christians involved with politics and civil leadership, I believe this country would be a little better. Because you have a man that's in the office right now, the president, that wants to abort babies, and wants to restrict everything. I believe he don't have a moral code.
Yeah.
And we get that from the Lord. So on that note, you being a pastor and also a politician, tell us how it feels to be in both them roles, and should Christians get more involved in politics?
I hate the word politics. I'm not a politician. I am seeking a position to bring change.
Okay.
Okay. The two things I'm going to stand on is the Word of God and the U.S. Constitution. Romans chapter 13, verses 1 through maybe 10, 7. It talks about how government officials are actually appointed by God.
Right.
That's either good or bad.
Okay.
Meaning, you can go look through the Old Testament history of Israel. When they were honoring God, God made sure godly kings were in charge. When they started turning away from God, they got the kings they deserved. So I believe every politician that's in there is because of the way, not the country. We can't hold non-believers accountable. I think God is holding the church accountable.
Okay.
For the right kind of leaders. Do I believe Christians ought to be involved in politics? I believe Christians ought to be involved in everything.
Yep. I agree with that.
We are a country that you can't deny it, that we weren't a country based on Christian principles. But it's not just standing on Christian principles. I'm going to say probably the greater majority of those that are in office claim to have some form of Christianity.
Correct.
So it's not claiming to be, it's those that are faithful to the Word of God, and we are governed by a constitution. Those are the two things I'm going to stand on, and I think Christians ought to be involved, not in politics. There's politics in church.
Yep, unfortunately.
And that makes me sick. But instead, let's bring together the love of Christ. I was accused of that, of being the fact that I'm a pastor. Well, how are you going to protect people because you're a pastor? You don't like those of the homosexuals, the transgender. Who said I don't? A matter of fact, the Word of God goes total opposite of that, and says to love them.
Right.
Love even your enemies. Do I think the Word of God approves of the lifestyle? No. I don't think the Word of God approves of me being angry at my wife. It says, don't let the sun go down on your anger. Okay? But I'm still married.
Yep.
I'm still going to love her. I'm going to bring that same kind of love to everybody. Why? And I think that's one of the reasons why those that are truly born again and following Christ ought to be involved, because we bring the love of Jesus to somebody. And let me tell you, when you bring discipline to somebody in love, they're going to know they've been loved on.
Right. And that's, you can, excuse me, you cannot like the lifestyle, but you love the individual. That's why I tell the people on here, because I was accused of that the other day, of saying you call yourself a preacher and you go and you bash. Well, look, I'm bashing the lifestyle.
Yeah.
And, the segment before this one, I'm talking about that.
Right.
I'm talking about where have the Republicans lost their values. And look, you heard what I said, Republicans. I'm not talking about the Democrats.
Right.
I'm talking about them, yes.
Yeah.
But I'm also putting the focus on the Republican Party. I think the nation has lost values because they lack the Word of God. And I do think, as you said, Christians should be involved in everything.
Yeah, right.
We should be involved with the things that are biblical.
Yeah.
But at the same time, our nation won't turn unless true Christians stand up.
Right.
And try to right the wrong that everything has happened over the years.
They do. And if you were to go back on our church's Facebook page, we have our sermons. You're going to hear me bashing the church more than anything else, because that's where it starts, is in the church.
Right.
The way the church goes is the way the country's going to go.
Right.
And if we don't get that right, the lost, the world, they're not going to follow those principles.
Nope, they're not.
The church has to. Well, I'm not going in there because they're a bunch of hypocrites. Unfortunately, yeah, that's why we need to change that.
How that old saying, though, if the church is perfect, don't go to it, because you'll mess it up.
Yeah, you'll mess it up. But in all of this, I think there's something we miss, is the grace of God. The Lord gave us 10 commandments to abide by. And they weren't there for us they were there to point out our wrongs. Okay? Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not covet. You have all of these laws in place, and here's the thing about it. They weren't there for us, oh, well, you broke the law. It was there to reveal our hearts, because the Lord Jesus took it a step further, and he says, if you have anger in your heart towards your brother, you've murdered him. If you've looked at somebody with lust in your heart, you've committed fornication or adultery. You've broken the law. What happens when, at the final judgment day, the law is broken and we had not repented and come under the blood of Jesus? We're going to be found guilty. We have a set of laws in our civil land. As a police chief, as somebody in that type of authority, it's not to go and search out the lawbreaker. It's to warn them ahead of time. If you break the law, this is what's going to happen. Let me tell you the good that happens by not breaking the law.
Right.
Same thing with the gospel. And I think that's why Christians need to be involved, that carry that same kind of grace and mercy into those type of areas.
On that note, because you are running for office.
Yeah.
Is that your platform? That's what you just said. Look, we're going to enforce the law, but we're trying to get you to the point where we don't have to enforce it, because you're not going to break the law, and you're going to try to show grace and humility, but at the same time, bring out some force.
Yeah, let's just take a drug addict. All right, you catch a drug addict stealing something. He's got drugs on him. He broke the law. He needs to be punished. But what's the punishment? Let him sit in a jail somewheres, or let's give him some options. More than likely, the reason he stole something is because he was trying to support his drug habit. If the drug habit wasn't there, and he becomes a functional member of society, he's not going to be stealing. And I've talked to a few judges around, and a lot of them are making rehabilitation centers an option. I think that's the way to go. I think the person that I'm going to come down hard on, that will come down swift and hard, are the dealers. Yep. Those are doing drive-by shootings. Those that are trafficking women coming off of the interstate right here. We have a corridor, I-10, that's coming into our city. It's like a big wide open gate right there. And that needs to be come down hard. You have a young guy that's being groomed, a young juvenile being groomed to go into this. Let's bring in some programs that will stop that before they become criminals rather, so they don't become a prisoner. And that's what I want to bring into this as a police chief.
On that note, we are running short on time.
Okay.
For the last couple of minutes we have, Brother Rodney.
You got a preacher on here, man. We can talk.
Well, I had one on here last episode too, so it was we went long. But anyway, Brother Rodney, please tell us where people can find you if they have any questions or concerns, and just your vision for Breaux Bridge and the whole position that you're seeking for.
Yeah, my vision for Breaux Bridge is if you're a criminal, you have until November 8th to get out. I want to come down hard on criminals. I want Breaux Bridge to be a place that is safe to raise your children and grandchildren without having to worry about what's around the corner. We're going to stand on the Word of God and the Constitution, the laws of this land that will serve and protect this country, this city. You can reach me on my personal. I am so far behind the 8 ball. I don't even have a campaign Facebook set up yet. I think we have we do have a web page.
Okay.
It's chiefchitwood.com. It's still in development. Okay, but you could go there, see a little bit about me and my history. Best way, email me, rgchitwood@gmail.com, or text or call me, 337-344-7257.
Brother Rodney, it's always a pleasure, my brother.
Pleasure. I appreciate you letting me be on.
Oh, no problem. Anytime. On that note, if we have the other candidates that are listening to this podcast or watching this podcast through YouTube or Rumble, and you want to be on, just reach out to me, and we'll start setting dates up because I like doing this. I like talking to politicians. So on that note, we'll be right back after this short break. How you doing, everyone? Isaac here, and I am with Phil Kennedy. He is the artist of the Center of the Door album that I have in my hand right here. And Phil, thank you for coming by, and just wanted to ask you a little bit about your album. And does this tell me a little bit of information what led you to make this album?
Thank you, Brother Isaac. I am a songwriter mostly, and firstly, I'm a preacher of the gospel. So the Lord has always blessed me, it seems, with a song, with a sermon for the song. And that seems to be how it started when I first started preaching. So, before you know it, you've written way more songs than you have sermons. And I just like to get a little group of them together now and then. It's the songs I've been singing as I travel to Mexico and this place and that, and preach Oklahoma or wherever else the Lord takes me. And I sing those songs. So I put a little CD together.
Hey, look, I'm going to be honest. It's a great album. Look, even my friend Scott Ford, I sent him a digital copy of it, and he loved it. He said he loved the album. He loved the way you sing, and it's a real big blessing. It's a good blessing for us, man.
Thank you so much. And I know that it's available in the digital world. It's available with me physically if you just message me or try to friend me on Evangelist Phil Kennedy Facebook, and the other information I'm sure you can give them.
Right. Well, we know for sure it's on Apple Music and it's on Spotify, where you can find the Cajun Conservative and Brothers Just Searching. Go ahead and look it up after you listen to our podcast. Go listen to a little bit of Phil Kennedy's album, Center of the Door. You'll be blessed. I promise you.
You're my peace of mind when this old world seems to get me down.
All right, everybody, welcome back to the third segment of the Cajun Conservative Show. I want to thank Brother Rodney Chitwood for stepping in and telling us his thoughts and opinions on his future race in Breaux Bridge, Louisiana, and also the thoughts of Christians running Christians are not, we talked about that in the first segment about this redefining marriage act. And you have a lot of these politicians. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. I'm a Christian. And they don't live a lifestyle for Jesus. Joe Biden, I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic. He ran all over the country. I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic. I'm Catholic. But he supports abortion. He supports same-sex marriage. And he... Now, the Catholic Church does deal with a lot of politicians. So I'm going to say this. I don't know what they're doing, but he should have been excommunicated a long time ago. Now, I'm not part of the Catholic Church. I'm not part of no denomination. But you can tell a hypocrite from a little far off. And which is going to lead me into my next story. Breaking news as I record this while in the break. My phone, my iPads, they're sliding up, and I know when that happens, something big is going on. This is from Fox News. Manchin and Schumer agreed to Build Back Better deal after more than a year of talks. Senator Joe Manchin announced Wednesday that he came to an agreement with Senator Majority Leader Chuck Schumer on a reconciliation bill after more than a year of negotiation amongst Democrats. Manchin, Democrat West Virginia, frustrated Democrats for months, constantly refusing to support party line legislation that at one point Democrats wanted to cost over $3 trillion. Democrats term that legislation Build Back Better, and Manchin shot down negotiations on it late last year. Now, the way that Manchin said in his statement that this bill will have a minimum 15% tax on companies worth more than $1 billion and invest in several forms of energy, including fossil fuels, nuclear, renewable. This is the top of the agreement. Democrats' provision comes on the perspective, drugs, extended sidelines, including in the Affordable Care Act. I now propose that we vote on the Inflation Reducing Act of 2022. Rather than risking more inflation with trillions in new spending, this bill will cut the inflation taxes Americans are paying, lower the cost of health insurance and prescription drugs, and ensure our country invests in energy security, climate change solution, Manchin said. Now, before I say anything, I had, ladies and gentlemen, this is why if I did a show every day, I would be probably set up pretty well, but I had a whole segment planned out, which I'm probably going to push to the next episode unless something else happens. Which I might still be able to get to it. I'm going to see how long this story takes me because this is fresh. I want to go back to a prediction I made a few months ago. I told you guys and ladies that don't put all your eggs on Joe Manchin. Joe Manchin has done right for the country. He has protected our rights. Like I said, $3 trillion. Did not get spent, and for over a year I have been praising Joe Manchin. The only thing I could praise Joe Manchin on is at least he stayed in the talks and he brought it down. But the thing of it is, ladies and gentlemen, Joe Manchin, I told y'all, he's a Democrat. He's a Democrat. That's all I can say. And don't surprise, party comes before principle. Remember in the first segment about values, Republicans. This is the thing about Republicans. I'm coming to address this. People are like, Republicans cross over the line all the time. Don't you agree? No, I don't agree with that. Because this is the problem. When a Republican goes over, he never comes back. A Democrat goes over and goes back all the time. Because he is looking for what betters his party. Why do I say that? In this article right here. Democrats grasping for a legislative win ahead of the midterms. Ladies and gentlemen, this is all this is about, ladies and gentlemen. This isn't about the country's well-being. I can tell you, look, Chuck Schumer and them wanted to radicalize certain things, and they have. And they were trying to rationalize this. And they kept on saying, Look, we're going to do it. Now, all of a sudden, I can probably, if I was a fly in the wall, or if I had a listening device and I knew a time, I could probably play it, but I don't. I can just assume this is what Chuck Schumer told him. Listen, we're gonna get beat real bad in the midterms. Please, Manchin, please. Do something to get us into the highlights, and that the media can stop talking about Biden and his dementia and how you got COVID. And please, we need the media to puff us up a little bit so our poll numbers can go up, please. And I can hear Manchin, all right, I'll give y'all this and this and this. Manchin caved. And I know why. He's a Democrat. I'm sorry, ladies and gentlemen. Democrats look after Democrats. They don't look after the country. And I hate to say it, Republicans are leaning the same way. Going back to my first segment on the Marriage Act that they're trying to pass. Susan Collins and Lisa Murkowski should not have an R by their name. They should have a D. We're moderate. We look at both sides of the aisle. It's kind of funny that these Republicans, when they're squeezed tight enough, they move more to the left. And ladies and gentlemen, this proves it right here. Manchin needed the Democrats needed a win because look what they put on there, ladies and gentlemen. This is going to help energy security and climate change solutions. Ladies and gentlemen, majority of that money in this bill, I guarantee you, is going to that. Now, they haven't released the final date. Now, you might be thinking, because I'm going to educate a couple of y'all guys, oh, Isaac, doesn't this go through the filibuster? No, it don't. Because this is a Ways and Means Committee thing. It's messing with money. So all you need is a simple majority in this bill. That's why the Democrats have been harping on Joe Manchin, because he was that 50 vote. This is what's going to happen, is go to the party lines. I'm predicting everything right. And ladies and gentlemen, this bill's probably, look, this has been announced on the 27th. This episode's released on the 28th. It would not surprise me that it is already passed by the next episode, because they're gonna go ahead and they're gonna do the 50-50 vote. Kamala Harris is gonna be waiting with her, and she's probably gonna go up in there because she did it earlier this week. Went to the head of the table. I'm Kamala Harris. I'm the vice president. I use my pronouns as she and her. So she's probably gonna go on the stage. Senate in order. I'm Kamala Harris. I recite to she and her. And you're gonna have the Democrats clapping like some trained seals. Ladies and gentlemen, this deal is bad for America. Everything about it is bad for America. Now, look, credit Joe Manchin for a year. Hell strong. Go Joe. I credit Joe Manchin. I said Joe Manchin is saving the nation. Now he's selling his soul to the devil. Oh, Isaac, how dare you turn from light? Because no, I'm going to call it what I see, ladies and gentlemen. I'm going to call it like I see it. This bill, first off, they're going to the bill will have a minimum of 15% tax on companies worth more than $1.1 billion and investments in several forms of energy. So they're gonna put that, they're gonna tax them if they have more than $1 billion and everything. So that's a tax. They said it's going to bring down inflation. I don't see how spending more money is going to bring down inflation. Today, well, I say today, yesterday, you're listening on Thursday when this is released, the Fed put up, they raised the interest rates 0.75%. That ain't a lot, Isaac. That's a lot. 7 points. And I'm working on something to where we can get some economists in here to talk a little bit about it. But ladies and gentlemen, how spending more money is going to bring down. See, everything Joe Manchin said he was fighting for, he just threw down the toilet. Now, I don't know the final tally of this bill. It's probably going to be over $1 billion. But I'm going to be honest with you, ladies. Remember, this is Build Back Better. This is a revisal of Build Back Better. I like Scott Ford's analogy of this. Build Back Better is like, hey, I'm going to take your vehicle, I'm going to wash it, clean it, and when you get back, it's full of McDonald's bags and has candy all over, and there's been mud all over the place. And I thought you were going to give it to me back better. I did. It's muddy. It got food in it. You like food. Oh, I spilled a little bit of Dr. Pepper all over the seats. You know, they're cotton. They're gonna stain. That's what Build Back Better is going to do. And this version of Build Back Better is not going to work. And like I said, this is probably going to pass before the next episode. So anyway, I want to talk. I'm going to go ahead and dive into my next topic. I want to go ahead and talk about recessions. Unfortunately, our country is headed towards that way. And I'm going to be honest with you. Economists are saying, no, it's not. No, it's not. Oh, no, it's not. And the reason that is that the GDP, if it's a negative of 2 times, that's a sign that your country's going into a recession. But not according to the president's people. This is from Breitbart. This individual was on CNN. Let me see. Yeah, CNN Newsday host John Brayman said he was talking to this individual, which is the White House National Economist Council Director Ryan Deese, and he asked him this question. It sounds like you're talking what will be accommodating what will be comment from some saying that 2 quarters of negative growth in a row, that's a recession. Now, ladies and gentlemen, this has been the line for recession. If you have 2 negative quarter quotes, which is the GDP, is showing your economy is falling, and you're heading into a recession. A lot of things that help with a recession is high inflation, high gas prices, and other things. Things that Joe Biden has been doing, which he's saying it wasn't his fault, but now it's his. Now he's taking the credit for all the gas prices coming down. Hypocrisy at its finest. Just saying. This is what Deese says. Right, Deese replied. And certainly in terms of the technical differences, it's not a recession. The technical defiance considered as much border structure of data points, spectrum of data points, but in particular terms, what matters to American people is whether they have a little economics breathing room, they have more job opportunities, their wages are going up, that has been Joe Biden's focus since coming into office. He has hidden his view of the economy that we need to look to build from the bottom up. What that means is typical working class people in this country have had trouble affording things for years. I'm going to stop him right there. No, they haven't. Ladies and gentlemen, he's saying that they've been struggling to afford things. People started struggling to afford things when President Joe Biden was sworn into office. That's when gas started going up. That's when the prices started going up. That's when inflation started going up. So him saying this has been for years. No, it's been about 2 years. Not years. He continued. He is focused on building a strong, durable economy recovery here. I'm going to stop right here. This is the same thing with the gas prices, ladies and gentlemen. Joe Biden saying, I'm going to repair something that I broke. And look, or it's the same thing. I'm going to use an analogy of this. A football team. The Saints have a new coach. It wasn't because Sean Payton sucked. It was just Sean Payton wanted to leave. But there's some teams that fired, like look, the old Cleveland Browns. A couple of the years, the Cleveland Browns went 1-31 in 2 football seasons. You know what they did? They fired their head coach. Now, you didn't hear the head coach say, man, I did all this. We're a 1-31 team in the past 2 years, but if you hire me back or you give me a second chance, I'm going to repair everything. And I'm going to make ourselves a Super Bowl winning team. You never hear them say that. But this is what this president is saying. Hey, I messed up the economy. We had one of the best economies under Donald Trump. We had some of the lowest gas prices under Donald Trump. We had the most security at the border since Donald Trump. But what changed? The president of the United States. And guess what? He brought this up. Now, this guy's saying about this. We have a real global challenge here in the short term. We've got to navigate our way through them, but we have to do so without giving up our economy gains. There's none, just being honest. That's going to be our focus, and I think we need to train that focus on rather than a sort of technical debate about backward-looking data. So now, why did I bring this up, ladies and gentlemen? Why did I quote this guy? Because apparently the Biden administration is trying to redefine what leads us to a recession. For years, ladies and gentlemen, a recession, the lead us to a recession is to say, well, look, negative 2 points. Guess what? We're going to a recession. We need to prep. We need to get ready to go. But now, according to the Biden administration, No. That don't mean recession. Now this goes to a good point too. Biden taking credit for gas prices, but inflation's still high. Oh, that's not my fault. Now listen to this. On Monday afternoon, President Joe Biden took questions from the press, including Fox News' Peter Dorsey, in pointing out that the GDP numbers will be coming in on Thursday. At the time of this recording, we don't have those numbers. We're going to probably have them on the next episode. Asks how worried should Americans be when that we could be in a recession. With a smile on his face as Dorsey asked the question, Biden doubled down on his administration's talking point by claiming he doesn't think we'll be in a recession. We're not going to be in a recession in my way, Biden claimed. The unemployment rate is still one of the lowest we had in human history. It is at 3.6% area. We still find ourselves with people investing. My hope is that we go from a rapid growth to a steady growth. I don't know what he's saying right here, ladies and gentlemen. There's no rapid growth in the economy. None whatsoever. And so we'll see some calming down, but I don't think we're going to, God willing, I don't think we're going to go into a recession. Now, I just talked about the Joe Manchin bill, Joe and Chuck Schumer's Build Back Better, revised Build Back Better. You spend more money, that's going to raise up to the recession, and that's going to raise up more to the inflation. Now, he did say something I want to hurry up and address right here. He said that the unemployment rate is 3.1, and that even in the last guy, his economical council, whatever, said, oh, people are making more money than ever. And people are investing. There's a problem right there, though, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, if you get a 2% raise and inflation goes up by 4%, you didn't make a raise. You're spending 2% more than what you did. You still got, that's the thing, ladies. This is what they're not saying. Inflation reached 9.1%. But wages are going up and you have good jobs are coming out. Yes, but if you're getting paid 2% more and inflation's hitting 9.1, you're still going to pay 7% more. That's the simple economics. Boom! Nobody thought of that, ladies and gentlemen. Nobody. But the president is trying to trying to redefine economics. That don't mean a recession. Now, look, it's possible. At the time of this recording, we haven't got the GDP numbers. We don't know if it's down yet. But a lot of economists are saying it probably will. Because the economy is bad. But he's keeping on line. Now, Ron Johnson, Biden White House can try to redefine what a recession is. But that's not going to change. But that's not going to change the reality. And see, ladies and gentlemen, it's popular to try to redefine things. The Democrats are trying to redefine marriage right now. They're trying to redefine what is a woman and what is a man. They're trying to change all this stuff. Now they saw that worked on that. Hey, we can redefine what a recession is. And ladies and gentlemen, especially tomorrow, because at the time of recording is a Wednesday. I will say this. If that GDP is down, this country has a lot of problems. And you know what? I hate to say it because I'm going to go back to my first segment. The Republican Party are to blame as well. Because the Republican Party could stop a lot of this with a filibuster, but they don't. Because, yeah, we hear the high-profile laws, but we don't hear about the laws that slip through the cracks. And on that note, I'm going to go ahead and end this episode. I want to thank you for listening to the Cajun Conservative Show. It's an honor and a blessing for you to always be with me. I hope you are safe and well. Remember, Jesus Christ is King, and he's coming back, and he's coming back soon. So don't be faint of heart, because Jesus has overcome the world. With all the problems, he's still the King of Kings, and he's still the Lord of Lords. Until next time, you be blessed, you be encouraged. Be safe. Bye-bye.
And he is the open